All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. I've been going over the online PDF textbook, AppInventor2, Create Your Own Android Apps by Wolber, Abelson, Spertus, and Looney. So far we've gone over in this first column here, we've gone over the first 11 chapters. So it's time to go on to Chapter 12, which is RobotRemote. I have no idea how long or how many lectures this chapter is going to be. I don't have a robot. I've never worked with robots, and I don't have a robot available to me. I will show, I believe they show a project in there, and I will show how to create the interface. How much further than that I can go is anyone's guess. So there may be one lecture, there may be two or three. Next, we'll go on to the Amazon bookstore, which is the last of the real project-based lessons in here. Then we switch over to what they call the Inventor's Manual, where a lot of the material in these last 10 chapters is discussing what's in the first 13, but in a little bit more depth and breadth of coverage. So, jumping into Chapter 12, RobotRemote. As they say in this chapter, you'll create an app that turns your Android phone into a remote control for a LEGO Mindstorms NXT robot, which again I don't have. And they talk about it. I don't really want to get into it in much depth and breadth of coverage. It's used a lot, especially in grade schools, junior high and high schools. As mentioned here on the bottom of the page that you can see on the top of your page, the NXT Programmable Robots Kit contains a main unit called the NXT Intelligent Brick, which can control 3 motors and 4 input sensors. You assemble the robot yourself from LEGO building elements, and they explain those here. The application in this chapter is designed to work with a robot that has wheels and an ultrasonic sensor, such as the ShooterBot robot pictured here on the first page. The ShooterBot is often the first robot people build with the LEGO Mindstorms NXT 2.0 set. It has left wheels connected to output port C, right wheels connected to output port B, a color sensor connected to input port 3, and an ultrasonic sensor connected to input port 4. So in the chapter, as mentioned here, we've got about 5 objectives. The Bluetooth client component for connecting to NXT, which I'll, I guess, explain but really not demonstrate. The list picker component that's used to provide a user interface for connecting to NXT. The NXT drive component for driving the robot's wheels. The NXT ultrasonic sensor component for using the robot's ultrasonic sensor to detect obstacles. And finally, the notifier component for displaying error messages. As mentioned here on the second page, you'll need Android version 2.0 to use in this chapter. Also, for security reasons, you'll have to pair the Bluetooth device before you can connect them to one another. Now, they explain this, but I'm not going to run through this, so I'm just going to skip this getting started section that's right here. All right, so they want us to start up a new project and name it NXT Remote Control. So that's what I'm going to do here. Projects, new project. Start new project. Project name, NXT Remote Control. There's our project. They also want us to change the title to NXT. Remember, we can't have spaces in our title. We cannot have them in our project names. So there's NXT Remote Control. All right. For this app, you'll create and define behaviors for both visible and non-visible components. Before creating the user interface components, you'll create some non-visible components, the ones listed here, all right, and illustrated in figure 12.1, which was on the first page. So to show you those, and I'm not even sure where all of them are, but I'm pretty sure the NXT components are down here where it says LEGO Mindstorms. All right, so we want to be able to add an NXT drive and an NXT ultrasound sensor. There's the NXT drive, and as you can see, it's a non-visible. The NXT ultrasonic sensor, same thing. So there those two components are. All right, we also want a notifier, and I've used that before, but I'm trying to remember for the life of me where that is. It's under the user interface control. So there's the notifier. Again, another non-visible component. And finally, we want a Bluetooth client, all right, to connect to the NXT. Let's just look from the top here. Not there. I know it's not going to be here. There it is. It's under connectivity. There's Bluetooth client. So those are our 4 non-visible components. An NXT drive component called NXT Drive 1, an NXT ultrasonic sensor component named NXT Ultrasonic Sensor 1, a notifier component named Notifier 1, and a Bluetooth client component named Bluetooth Client 1. So that's those. All right, then they want us to set the properties in the following ways. Set the Bluetooth client component of NXT Drive 1 and the ultrasonic to both the Bluetooth Client 1. Okay, so there's the client for this one. There's the client for the other one. So they were set accordingly. Check below range event enabled on the ultrasonic sensor 1. Set the drive motors property of NXT Drive 1. If your robot has the left wheel connected, etc. All right, so again, I'm not going to set these because I don't have a thing connected anyway, but let's take a look here. NXT Drive 1. All right, there's the drive motors component. Set the sensor property of the NXT Ultrasonic Sensor 1. It says if your robot's ultrasonic sensor is changed to input 4, the default doesn't need to be changed. Okay, I just left it the way it is. Then we're going to build this. Now when I look at this, all right, as far as what I can see here, well, what do we have? We've got a vertical arrangement and everything is in there. Then we've got a button that's going to scan the whole width of the screen. Same with another button. Nope, I'm sorry. We've got a vertical arrangement with just these 2 components in it. Then we've got a horizontal arrangement that's got all of this stuff in it. All right. It almost looks like this horizontal arrangement is in this vertical arrangement. So let's see if we can do that. So this will be our Connect List Picker button right here that we'll do first. Oops. So we now have that, and we want a vertical arrangement. Oh, in fact, in here, this is going to just say connect ... So let's do a few things. First off, as I like to do, let's blow the size up. Let's bold it. Let's make the width fill parent. And we'll put the text in there, what they say, connect ... and it already is center aligned. So that looks pretty good. Next, we want to put in a vertical arrangement. And I might be wrong here. I'm going to see if I can put a horizontal arrangement inside of there. And it looks like I can. All right. So the vertical arrangement, I'm going to set the height to fill parent. Okay. And now I'm going to start working here inside of this with the horizontal arrangement. So what do we want? Well, we want these buttons here. All right. This is our forward button, and we want this outside of the horizontal arrangement. So I want to put that in first. It looks like that's going to be a little bit bigger too. Then we want the left, the stop, and the right button. Those will be inside of the horizontal arrangement. Then outside of it, we'll have this button here. And then outside of everything, we're going to have the disconnect button. Now, hopefully I did that correctly in what I just told you. All right? So, for now, I'm going to get rid of the horizontal arrangement. It's just easier to do it this way. Okay? And I'm going to come in and put in, I've got the connect button, so I'm going to come in here and put in the forward button. Now, I don't know if they... I think they're going to tell us what size to set all this stuff, so I'll worry about that when we get to that point. So let's put in the forward button. I don't think, did it say forward? No, it's just got an up arrow. Well, again, let's take this entire vertical arrangement and let's set the width also to fill parent. That looks a little better. Now we can set this button here. We can set its width to fill parent. That's looking a little better. Should we change the size and we'll bold it? It's going to be hard to see until we blow it up a little bit, but that's okay. All right, now we can come in and put in, so that should have been called forward button, which I did not do yet. So let's do that now. All right, so now let's come in and let's put in our horizontal arrangement where we'll have these three buttons. All right, so we've got that in there, so let's put in button, button, button. Oh, this can be so frustrating. Sometimes it's easier just to remove them and try it all over again. All right, so again, this was supposed to be height fill parent. No, it's not. Leave it at automatic, that's fine. So, button. There's our first button. Button. There's our second button. Button. Oh my goodness. Here's our three buttons. All right. Just because to me it's easier to do it this way, I'm going to go and I'm going to set the width on all three of these. And I may end up changing this later, but I'm going to set the width to a percentage, 32%. 32% and 32%. All right, and these are to be called left button, stop button, and right button. And again, we'll blow up the text and bold it, just because there's not much of it. That's going to be the left button. All right, then we've got our stop button in the middle. We'll again blow up the text and bold it. And we'll have our, and that is, I'm sorry, that is our stop button, so let's rename that. And then we'll also rename our right button change that text. Blow that text up size-wise and make it bold. All right. Remember, this was supposed to be set, the width was supposed to be set to 32%. There we go. All right, it's coming together. So we've got this. Now we want to put this button down here. All right, and we want that to be out of the horizontal arrangement. So we have to create another button, and that will be our backward button. Then we'll have our disconnect button. Figure out why that is so much bigger than this is. Maybe this should be a small v. Huh. Oh, it's, well, no. This is supposed to be a caret. That's up. That one is incorrect. There we go. Let's see if we blow the size of this up. Looks a little better. Want this to be very viewable, very visible to whoever runs the program. All right, so. Okay, it's getting there. And this button right here was supposed to be called backward button. And finally, we've got our disconnect, which is down on the bottom here. And I think they call that disconnect button, yeah. Right? And I believe our interface is completed. We're going to have to jack with some of the settings on here as we were told to do. Just wonder with that one. Let me make that again into a... All right. Hopefully that looks about right. All right. So we've made this. To make the Bluetooth connection, you'll need the unique Bluetooth address of the NXT. Again, I'm not working with that, so that's okay. You can build the interface shown in 12.2 by dragging out the components listed above. Well, I guess at the top I was supposed to have a list picker, which I didn't have, but we'll get that in just a second. I put in the vertical arrangement, I put in the button, I put in the horizontal arrangement with a button, with a button, with a button, then I put in the backward button and the disconnect button. Again, it says place the left button, stop button, and right button inside of the horizontal arrangement, and make sure that the forward button, the horizontal arrangement, the backward button, and the disconnect button are inside of the vertical arrangement. So I want this list picker, and we've got to see where that is located. There's the list picker. We want that over and above. All right. So we didn't want that inside of here. So not sure exactly what we're supposed to put in there for text, but let's take and set the width right away. All right. We'll worry about that as we go on here. All right. Uncheck scrollable on screen 1, which may be unchecked anyway. It is already unchecked. Let's check our time here. All right, we're at 20 minutes, so I'm going to stop and continue to build the rest of this interface in the next lecture.